What did you leave behind in order to become part of the enterprise?
Leave behind. In what way?
I don't know, what did you leave behind? Like, what was
I doing beforehand?
Yeah, like, what did you have to leave behind?
Well, I mean, I don't know if I left behind so much. I mean, I guess I left behind being a student. So I'd come from university.
First job, yeah.
Yeah, and then it was like my first job, so I left behind the freedom of not having to do much.
What was the impact you did on the special group of society?
Well, I don't know if I really do have an impact. I mean, I know supposedly businesses are supposed to be in a niche of impact, but I think to some extent that's, I mean, you can have a successful business that just fills a need that's already there, but just not done that well, or just not enough people in it. And sales is sort of a hard job. People don't really like. It's particularly hard to get started, I think, in the industry. So, yeah, it's more I feel to get by being persistent.
Yeah. Is there anyone you have to interact with within the job?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's staff like office staff and things like that, admin staff. But probably the most important would be the sales, the clients themselves, and having meetings with clients and just going over their needs and showing them how they might improve the situation.
Have you used other people's skills in any way, or how do you use them if you do?
Definitely. Like as I said, the admin skills. Like my skills probably more communication. It's definitely not organisation, as you may know. So I find that I've got to utilise other people in the team that will do that sort of thing, and even to some extent there's people that come in and do sales training and that sort of thing.
How did your previous mistakes help inform you of your current situation?
So you mean what have I learned from previous mistakes?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Well, I think what I used to do at the start particularly was take note of my patter, my sales speech, and I used to refine that. So I used to, like, at the end of an appointment, particularly one where I hadn't the client had decided not to go with my advice. I used to try and figure out what the situation was. Like, was it the way I talked? Did I come across too high pressure? What was the issue? And slowly I could refine my sales technique to get it so the client could build rapport. It's all about building rapport with the client, really. So yeah.
What have you learned in the past that you use now?
Well, I mean, again, it's sort of what we've just said. Like
another version.
Yeah.
Well, will this remain static or evolve further?
Well, you'd like to think things will evolve, but to be fair, on reflection, I was just thinking about, I don't do that as much now, possibly because I've been doing it for so long, it's sort of second nature, but I think you can always improve. So maybe that's something I could actually reflect on, but yeah, maybe that's something.
Are there any legal specialist regulations, constraints that you have to be aware of or follow?
Yeah, well, that goes back to when you were talking about education requirements, and I said about the AFA, RFA, that are things that we have to be aware of now, and it's all about due diligence and making sure the client's looked after.
How far do these regulations and rules go to provide consistency, accuracy and efficiency?
Well, I don't think they definitely don't provide efficiency, because it's more about extra paperwork for me, and quite often the client doesn't care. So it's a little bit government bureaucracy is from my end of it, but then there's an argument to say that I would say that.
Yeah. How has insurance had an impact on people socially?
Well, probably the best example would be a client. Unfortunately, he was killed in a work accident, and he had a young mum with 2 young babies, and obviously their situation wouldn't have been that great socially. But being able to provide them with the lump sum money helped them out socially. So I guess that's an example. I think it provides stability to the community in a crisis situation.
How has insurance had an impact on people politically?
Well, politically, I'm not sure exactly how that would apply. What I do find is when I'm talking about medical insurance, there's a lot of political discussions come up, and that people think the government should pay for public care, and some people think, so that's an area where politics comes up. Probably the number one rule of sales is to agree with whatever anyone says. politely, even if you disagree, and then try and steer the conversation back to the actual facts.
Yeah. How has insurance an impact on people environmentally?
Well, I mean, that's a hard one with insurance, so I don't know how much it applies. I mean, I've got a photocopier that's carbon neutral, if that helps.
Thank you, Andrew, for allowing me to take your time and providing me with great interesting answers. You've been a real help and you've surely left me thinking.
Cool, thanks.